The city was alive with sound and color. Hover carts zipped along the streets, carrying fruits, glowing devices, and steaming food. Dragons glided above, their scales glinting in the sun, casting shadows over the bustling market below. Humans moved quickly, some pausing to marvel at the dragons above, others hurrying to avoid them. It was a world where humans and dragons lived side by side, but not always as equals. Dragons were the rulers of the skies, creatures of power, elegance, and fear. Humans served, observed, or simply tried to survive in their shadow. Among the crowd, a young human woman moved with surprising confidence. Her name was Leah, and she worked as a waitress in a small cafe tucked into a quiet corner of the city. Her hair was tied back, a few strands escaping to frame her face, and her apron was streaked with flour and coffee stains. She moved quickly, balancing trays of food with practiced skill, yet her eyes constantly scanned the streets, always alert. But today she was not serving food. Today she carried a small, fragile bundle wrapped in a soft cloth. The bundle was a baby dragon, its scales dull and uneven, wings weak and trembling. It could not fly, could barely lift its head, yet its eyes, a bright shade of emerald, shone with curiosity and trust. Most humans would have avoided such a creature, afraid of its size or reputation. Some might even have laughed or run, but Leah's hands were steady, and her voice was gentle as she whispered soothing words to the tiny dragon. "Don't worry, little one," she said softly. "I've got you." The market was crowded, and the baby dragon made small, pitiful sounds. Some vendors turned to watch, shaking their heads. "Why carry that weak thing?" one man sneered. "It won't live long." Leah ignored them. She adjusted the cloth, ensuring the dragon was comfortable. "It's not about how long it lives," she said quietly, almost to herself. "It's about making it matter while it can." Unseen above the crowd, a massive shadow fell across the market. The air grew warmer, and the chatter of humans dropped for a moment as a large, powerful dragon descended from the sky. His scales shimmered in deep gold and crimson, and his eyes were the color of molten amber. Wings like sails spread wide, brushing the clouds, and a sense of authority radiated from him. He was the Dragon Emperor, ruler of all dragons in this sky empire. His name alone commanded respect, fear, and awe. Yet today, he did something unusual. Instead of ignoring the humans below or seeking out his court, he paused, hovering silently. His attention was drawn to the little human in the center of the market, carrying the disabled dragon with care and courage. He had seen humans before, of course. They were clever, persistent, and often amusing. But never had he seen one approach a dragon, let alone a weak, defenseless dragon, with such calmness and compassion. Most humans would run, hide, or tremble with fear. This one, she carried the dragon as if it were the most important thing in the world. Intrigued, the emperor watched as Leah moved through the market. She dodged carts and curious onlookers, her eyes alert but gentle on the creature she carried. When a small boy ran too close, nearly brushing the dragon, Leah held up a hand and spoke softly. "Careful. It's fragile." Her voice carried a firmness born of love, not anger. The emperor felt something strange in his chest, a warmth he had never experienced. It was admiration, curiosity, a stirring of something he could not name. He leaned closer, invisible to most below, to see the tiny dragon's face. Its eyes, though weak, glimmered with trust. And in that moment, the emperor realized he had never seen a human like this one. The crowd around them began to notice the emperor's presence. Whispers spread quickly. "It's him!" someone gasped. "The Dragon Emperor!" Others stared in awe, some hiding behind stalls, some bowing instinctively. But Leah did not look up. She did not flinch. Her focus remained entirely on the small dragon she carried. A strong wind swept through the market as the Emperor hovered, testing the air currents around him. He could have descended fully, let the humans see him, commanded silence or demanded attention, but he did not. He simply watched. Something in the human's courage intrigued him far more than power or fear. The baby dragon whimpered, trying to lift its wings. Leah adjusted her hold, murmuring, "Shh, you're safe. I'll help you." Then, as if the Emperor wanted to test her, a group of large, aggressive dragons swooped down from above. They were powerful and impatient, looking for entertainment or challenge. The crowd panicked. Humans scattered, vendors shouted, and stalls toppled in the rush. But Leah did not panic. She held the baby dragon closer, moving swiftly, shielding it from danger with her own body. The Emperor's golden eyes widened. Most humans would have screamed, begged, or fled. She stood firm. Her courage was quiet, unwavering and protective. It was the kind of courage he respected. True courage, not born of strength, but of heart. The aggressive dragons circled, snarling and snapping, expecting fear. Leah did not raise a weapon. She did not call for help. She simply continued moving, calculating, precise. A stack of crates became a barrier. A hanging tarp distracted one dragon. Her mind worked quickly, her heart steady. Finally, the larger dragons lost interest, finding nothing entertaining in this human's calm defiance. They swooped away, their wings stirring the clouds. The market settled, and silence fell like a blanket. The humans around her stared in awe, many whispering about the bravery they had just witnessed. Leah breathed a quiet sigh, adjusting the baby dragon once more. "It's okay," she said softly. "We're safe now." The Emperor descended a little closer, curious to see how she would respond. She looked up then, finally meeting the gaze of the great golden dragon. Her eyes widened, but not in fear. In recognition. She did not bow, scream, or flee. She simply nodded slightly, as if acknowledging a powerful presence and saying, "Without words, I mean no harm." The Emperor felt a strange sensation again, something unfamiliar. He had ruled the skies for centuries, commanding fear and respect. He had never felt awe like this before, nor had he seen humility, strength, and care combined in such a tiny creature as a human. For the first time, he considered that maybe there was more to humans than power could measure. Maybe their courage, their empathy, their quiet strength could rival dragons. He decided silently to follow her. To watch, to learn, and perhaps to intervene if needed. Not with fear, not with his full power, but with subtle guidance, unseen influence, a protector from the shadows. The day moved on, the market slowly returning to its normal rhythm. Humans whispered among themselves, telling stories of the strange human who carried a baby dragon through danger, and the golden dragon who had watched without a sound. But Leah simply went about her tasks, carrying the baby dragon carefully, finding a quiet corner to feed it and clean its tiny wings. The Emperor hovered above, invisible to all but the keenest eyes, observing. A bond, unspoken yet undeniable, had begun to form between human and dragon. He did not yet understand the full meaning of it, but he knew one thing with certainty. This human was extraordinary, and her courage would change something in him forever. And perhaps, he thought quietly, it might even change the empire. The city had settled into the quiet hum of afternoon. Hover carts continued their deliveries, dragons glided lazily above, and humans went about their daily routines. Yet in a quiet corner of the busy marketplace, Leah sat on a low stone wall, cradling the tiny baby dragon. She hummed softly, letting the creature nibble on a small piece of fruit she had cut for it. Its weak wings trembled, but it pressed close to her chest, trusting her completely. Unseen in the sky, the Dragon Emperor watched. He hovered silently, a golden shadow against the sun. His eyes, molten amber and unblinking, studied her every move. He was fascinated, every gesture she made, every careful adjustment of the baby dragon. Spoke of a patience and bravery he had never expected in a human. He thought about how humans were often underestimated. They lacked his wings, his fire, his strength. Yet in this one tiny human, he saw courage far greater than many dragons he had known. She faced danger calmly. She showed love where others might see weakness. And somehow she had earned the trust of a creature he himself had considered fragile and unworthy of attention. The Emperor was curious. He wanted to understand her. He began to follow her discreetly, drifting silently behind as she moved through the city. Leah carried the baby dragon carefully, ducking under low stalls and avoiding the larger creatures that roamed the streets. No one else seemed to notice her small act of care, but the Emperor did. As they walked, Leah faced challenges that tested her patience and cleverness. A group of street urchins spotted the baby dragon and tried to grab it, thinking it would be amusing or profitable. Leah's hands moved quickly, pulling the dragon closer and stepping between it and the children. "No," she said firmly. "You cannot touch it." The children hesitated, surprised by her courage. Most humans might have panicked in front of a small crowd, but Leah's calm determination and steady voice made them pause. They finally scampered away, leaving her and the baby dragon unharmed. The Emperor's interest grew. He had seen thousands of dragons tested for strength, loyalty, and power. Yet this human showed a strength of a different kind. Not in muscle or fire, but in heart. And he realized that heart could change everything. He followed her to the small cafe where she worked. The cafe was modest, with a few tables and a low counter. Steam rose from pots of food, and the smell of baked bread filled the air. Leah set the baby dragon down on a soft cloth in the corner, making a small nest for it to rest. Customers entered, some unaware of the dragon curled up quietly. Leah moved among the patrons with ease, serving drinks, offering smiles, and making small jokes to lighten their day. Yet her attention always returned to the baby dragon, checking its wings, feeding it tiny bites, and whispering encouragement. The Emperor watched it all silently from the sky. He noticed something else. Humans were capable of small, clever acts that dragons often overlooked. She rearranged chairs so the dragon could rest safely, blocked drafts from the doorway, and even created a small shield from a cloth to protect it from curious children. These small, careful actions amazed him. He had the power to command armies, yet she could protect a fragile creature with nothing but her mind, her hands, and her courage. The day wore on, and the baby dragon grew tired. Its small head rested on Leah's shoulder, eyes closing in trust. Leah hummed again, a soft, comforting tune. She did not rush, did not worry about what others thought. In that moment, she was entirely focused on the creature she cared for. The Emperor found himself drawn closer. For the first time in centuries, he wondered if power alone was enough. He had ruled through fear, strength, and awe. But watching this human, he realized that perhaps courage, kindness, and patience could be even stronger. Suddenly, trouble arrived without warning. A merchant in the cafe's back alley had been experimenting with a strange device, one that could attract dragons. The device sparked and hissed, drawing attention from a nearby patrol of dragons. They swooped low, curious and territorial, circling the cafe. Leah noticed immediately. Her instincts kicked in. She covered the baby dragon with her body, shielding it from view. She whispered softly, "Stay calm. We'll be safe." Her voice was steady, even as her heart raced. The dragons circled, sniffing the air, their eyes sharp. The Emperor watched, impressed by how she moved calmly and quickly, her mind working faster than the humans around her could even think. She lifted small objects, creating barriers and distractions. A stack of crates toppled carefully, blocking one dragon's path. She used the noise of the cafe to cover the movements, ensuring the baby dragon remained unseen. Finally, the dragons lost interest. They swept away, their wings casting long shadows over the rooftops. The city returned to its usual hum, and the cafe's patrons barely noticed the danger had passed. But Leah exhaled slowly, holding the baby dragon close. "We're safe," she murmured. The Emperor's heart, though ancient and powerful, felt something unfamiliar. He wanted to approach, to speak, to acknowledge her courage, yet he restrained himself. He had learned long ago that appearances could be dangerous, that fear and awe could overwhelm even the bravest hearts. He decided to remain hidden, observing her from afar, wanting to see more of this remarkable human. Over the next few days, the Emperor continued to follow Leah. He watched her routine, preparing food, carrying the baby dragon, defending it from dangers small and large, and caring for it with tireless devotion. She never faltered. She never gave up. And slowly, the Emperor began to understand something that puzzled him. Humans were not weak. They were clever, adaptable, and brave in ways dragons rarely were. One afternoon, Leah found a small, injured bird near the cafe. Without hesitation, she scooped it up and tended to it, even while holding the baby dragon in her other arm. The Emperor's attention sharpened. She had time, energy, and love for all creatures, no matter their size, strength, or importance. She saw value where others saw weakness. As he watched, the Emperor felt a stirring of respect, but more than that, he felt the first hint of a bond forming, not through words or ceremony, but through observation. He realized that this human could teach him something he had long forgotten: empathy, patience, and the quiet power of care. That evening, the market quieted. Lanterns glowed softly, casting gentle light over the cobblestone streets. Leah sat outside the cafe, the baby dragon resting on her lap. She hummed the same tune she had sung earlier, a melody of comfort and warmth. The city felt calm, almost peaceful, though the Emperor knew danger could return at any time. He hovered above, wings spread silently, watching. He realized that her courage was not loud or violent. It was quiet, steady, unshakable. And he understood something profound. Humans like her did not seek glory, did not demand power. They acted because it was right, because it mattered. The Emperor felt something he had not felt in centuries: hope. Hope that the world, ruled by dragons and humans alike, could be better. That courage and compassion could change not just one life, but many. As night fell, Leah gently placed the baby dragon in its small nest of cloths and blankets. She covered it carefully, whispering, "Rest now. Tomorrow is another day." The Emperor watched, hidden in the dark sky, and made a silent promise. He would protect this human and her little dragon, not because she commanded it, not because he had to, but because she had earned it through courage and heart. And he knew deep in his ancient heart that this was only the beginning. For somewhere in the quiet streets, under the glow of the lanterns, a remarkable bond had begun. A bond that would challenge centuries of tradition, change the way dragons saw humans, and transform not only the lives of a small dragon and its human caretaker, but the entire empire. The Emperor's golden eyes glimmered in the night, reflecting the soft light of the lanterns. He did not yet know what lay ahead, but he felt certain that it would be extraordinary. For in the courage of one human, he had glimpsed something stronger than fear, larger than power, and more beautiful than any treasure in the sky. And he would follow her, not to control, not to rule, but to learn, to witness, and perhaps one day, to be changed forever. The morning sun spilled gold across the city, highlighting the shimmering scales of dragons gliding gracefully above. Below, the streets were alive with activity, humans rushing to their jobs, merchants calling out their wares, and the distant hum of hover carts moving smoothly over the cobblestones. The city seemed peaceful, yet danger often arrived when it was least expected. Leah carried her little companion through the streets, humming softly as she walked. The baby dragon, small and fragile, nestled in her arms, its weak wings folded awkwardly against its body. Though it could not yet fly, it had grown stronger in the days since Leah had first found it. Its bright emerald eyes glimmered with trust and curiosity as it watched the bustling city below. The dragon emperor hovered above, concealed by the clouds, his golden eyes fixed on her. He had spent days observing her, and each day revealed more of the human's extraordinary heart. He had watched her courage, her patience, her cleverness in facing dangers small and large. And yet, today, he sensed that something more serious was about to test her. As if on cue, a group of rogue dragons appeared on the edge of the city. These dragons were fierce, aggressive, and unpredictable, often seeking to dominate weaker dragons or humans who wandered too close. Their scales were dark and jagged, their eyes sharp and cold, and they moved with purpose, toward the very street where Leah walked. Leah sensed the disturbance immediately. Even without looking, she could feel the change in the air. The baby dragon stirred nervously in her arms, sensing the approaching threat. Leah's grip tightened, holding it closer. "Stay calm," she whispered. "We'll get through this." The rogue dragons swooped down, their wings casting long, menacing shadows over the streets. The humans below panicked, scattering in all directions. Market stalls toppled under the sudden gusts of wind, and the smell of spilled food filled the air. Yet Leah moved with quiet determination, navigating through the chaos with careful steps. The Emperor's eyes narrowed. He had seen fear in many humans, but not in her. She did not scream. She did not run. She thought quickly, using her surroundings to protect the fragile dragon in her arms. A stack of crates became a makeshift barrier, forcing the rogue dragons to slow down. A fallen barrel rolled into their path, creating a small distraction. Every action was precise, deliberate, and protective. One rogue dragon lunged toward her, its jaws snapping dangerously close. Leah sidestepped, using a hanging tarp to obscure its view. The baby dragon trembled, but she kept her voice soft, humming a tune that seemed to calm it. The rogue dragon hesitated, confused by the sudden movement. The Emperor realized that this human's courage was not just bravery, it was intelligence, strategy, and care combined. She was using her mind and her heart in equal measure, protecting the weak with skill and determination. He had never witnessed a human act with such wisdom and bravery in the face of danger. The situation grew more tense as the rogue dragons surrounded her, cutting off her escape routes. Leah's heart raced, but she did not panic. She scanned the area, searching for anything she could use to protect the baby dragon. Her eyes landed on a narrow alley to her right, partially hidden by a stack of crates and barrels. It was tight, but it could serve as a path to safety. With careful steps, she moved toward the alley, using her body to shield the baby dragon. The rogue dragons followed, snapping and growling, but they were too large to navigate the narrow passage easily. Leah ducked under low beams, leapt over obstacles, and whispered encouraging words to the trembling dragon. Above, the Emperor watched silently, his heart stirring. He could descend, unleash his power, and scatter the rogue dragons in moments. But he hesitated. He wanted to see the human's courage firsthand, to witness the full measure of her bravery. And he knew that interfering too soon might take away the very strength he wished to honor. Leah led the baby dragon through the alley, her mind working quickly. She noticed a pile of discarded metal sheets leaning against a wall. Using them like a shield, she created a barrier between herself and the rogue dragons. The creatures hissed and snapped, frustrated by the obstacle, buying her precious moments. The baby dragon's wings twitched weakly, and Leah smiled gently. "Almost there," she murmured. "You're doing so well." Her calm voice and steady hands seemed to soothe it, giving it confidence it had never known. Finally, she reached the edge of the alley, where the street opened into a quiet square. The rogue dragons hesitated at the narrow exit, unwilling to follow immediately. Leah seized the opportunity, carrying the baby dragon across the square with swift, careful steps. She glanced up, feeling a strange warmth as the Emperor hovered above, invisible but watching, his presence like a protective shadow. One rogue dragon, braver than the rest, lunged forward, snapping its jaws. Leah reacted instinctively, using a loose rope to trip it. The dragon stumbled, roaring in frustration, and the others followed, confused by the sudden change. Leah led the baby dragon to a small, abandoned building at the edge of the square, ducking inside before the rogue dragons could recover. Inside, she gently set the dragon down on a soft pile of cloths she had brought. She knelt beside it, brushing its scales softly and checking its weak wings. "We're safe for now," she whispered. The baby dragon looked up at her with bright eyes, trusting completely, and let out a small, contented chirp. The Emperor descended slightly, curious to see her reaction. He noted the way she cared for the dragon, her patience, her cleverness, and her unwavering calm. He felt something unfamiliar, a mix of admiration and respect, even a touch of awe. This human had faced danger without fear, protecting the helpless with nothing but her courage, her mind, and her heart. He realized something important. Humans were capable of more than he had ever imagined. Their strength did not lie in power, speed, or size. It lay in their hearts. Their courage, their empathy, their intelligence, and their determination could rival dragons in ways he had never considered. Leah leaned back, letting the baby dragon rest on her lap. She closed her eyes for a moment, taking a deep breath. The adrenaline had left her body, but her mind remained sharp, aware that danger could return at any time. She looked up at the sky, sensing the Emperor's presence, though she could not see him. She whispered softly, "Thank you, whoever you are." The Emperor's eyes softened. He had protected many dragons in his life, ruled over countless territories, and faced challenges that required every ounce of strength he possessed. Yet he had never felt the same admiration and respect for anyone as he did for this small human. She had proven that courage could shine brighter than fear, that care could outweigh power, and that even the weakest could survive with determination and heart. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow across the city, Leah settled the baby dragon in a cozy corner of the building. She wrapped it in soft cloths and hummed a gentle tune, her hands moving with care and precision. The baby dragon chirped softly, its trust in her absolute. The Emperor hovered above, a silent guardian, contemplating what he had witnessed. He had expected to be amused by the human's attempts to survive, but instead, he had found himself profoundly moved. She had faced danger, protected the weak, and never faltered. She had done what many dragons could not, act with courage, intelligence, and heart at the same time. For the first time in his long life, the Emperor realized that humans were not merely subjects or creatures to be observed. They were capable of greatness, of heroism, and of teaching even the most powerful dragons something new. He made a silent decision. He would continue to watch, to protect when necessary, and perhaps one day reveal himself to this remarkable human. She had earned his respect, his attention, and in a way, his trust. And he knew that the bond forming between human and dragon, fragile, small but growing, was something extraordinary. It was a bond that could change not only their lives but the future of the empire itself. As night fell, the city quieted. Lanterns glowed softly, casting gentle light across the streets. Leah stayed with the baby dragon, humming until it drifted off to sleep. She looked out the window, sensing the Emperor above, though she could not see him. A small smile touched her lips. "I know you're watching," she whispered softly. "Thank you." The Emperor watched for a few more moments, feeling a warmth in his chest that he had not felt in centuries. He had ruled through strength and fear, but this human showed him a different kind of power, one born of heart, courage, and empathy. And he knew, deep within himself, that her bravery was only the beginning of a story that would change them both forever. The city had changed slightly since that morning. The streets, once bustling with noise and energy, now carried a quiet hum of tension. Word had spread about the rogue dragon's attack the day before. Merchants whispered to one another, and citizens glanced nervously at the skies, wary of the dragons that soared above. Yet in the midst of this unease, Leah moved with calm determination, carrying her little dragon as if nothing had changed. The baby dragon had grown stronger in the days since she had rescued it. Its wings, though still weak, had begun to twitch with movement, and its eyes glimmered with more confidence. Leah's patience and care had given it courage, just as she had discovered a new courage within herself. Each day was a lesson in love, perseverance, and trust. Above, the Dragon Emperor hovered, watching her from a distance. His golden eyes, deep and thoughtful, traced her every movement. The bond between human and dragon had grown stronger, and he felt it in a way that surprised him. He had expected to remain a distant observer, yet he now sensed a connection, an unspoken understanding that something significant was unfolding. Today, he decided to reveal himself. He descended silently, landing gracefully in the square where Leah often paused to rest the baby dragon. The sunlight glinted off his golden scales, and his wings, massive and powerful, stirred the wind around him. Despite his size and strength, he did not roar or threaten. He remained calm, letting the human see him without fear or intimidation. Leah looked up, her eyes widening at the sight of the magnificent dragon before her. For a moment she froze, clutching the baby dragon tightly. Her heart raced, yet she did not scream or flee. She sensed no danger, only an extraordinary presence. "I am the Dragon Emperor," he said, his voice deep yet calm, resonating in the quiet square. "I have watched you for days." Leah's breath caught. She had sensed someone observing her, a powerful presence above, but she had never imagined it would be him, the ruler of all dragons. She stepped slightly forward, holding the baby dragon protectively. I did what I could," she said softly. "I only wanted to help." The Emperor tilted his head, his eyes reflecting a mix of curiosity and admiration. "What you did, it was more than courage. It was care, wisdom, and strength of a different kind. You protected what others would have ignored. You faced danger without fear. You have shown me humans can be extraordinary." Leah felt a warmth in her chest, a mixture of awe and disbelief. "I never thought a human could matter to a dragon emperor," she said quietly. "I just wanted to keep this little one safe." The Emperor lowered his head slightly, bringing his gaze closer to the baby dragon. "And you have. You have taught me something important, that strength is not only in power, but in heart." His words carried weight, echoing the centuries of wisdom he had gathered, now softened by her example. For the first time, he felt a desire to act alongside her, not above her. He offered a gesture of trust, lifting one massive claw to rest lightly on the edge of the square. Leah did not flinch. She had faced danger before, and now she faced the Emperor himself with calm courage. Over the next hours, the Emperor and Leah talked. She shared her experiences, her love for the baby dragon, and her belief that even the weakest could have value. The Emperor listened, learning from her words as much as he had from her actions. He realized that his empire, built on power and fear, had overlooked something vital: the importance of care, compassion, and courage in those who were often dismissed. "You have changed my view of humans," he said finally. "I have ruled with strength, but I now see that wisdom, empathy, and bravery in unexpected forms are equally important. You have opened my eyes to something I had forgotten." Leah smiled softly, her fingers brushing the baby dragon's scales. "I think every creature deserves a chance to shine," she said, "even if they are small, weak, or different." The Emperor nodded, his wings shifting slightly. "Then perhaps it is time for change." Together, they began planning. Leah suggested ways to help the city, especially its weak and vulnerable citizens. She spoke of caring for young dragons, humans in need, and creatures who could not defend themselves. The Emperor listened, absorbing every detail, impressed by her wisdom and humility. Soon their plans took shape. The Emperor would provide protection and resources, while Leah would organize care and guidance for those in need. The city would not only survive but grow stronger, built on the courage and compassion she had shown. Days turned into weeks, and their work began to transform the city. The Emperor's presence inspired dragons to act with care rather than fear. Leah's leadership encouraged humans to be brave, clever, and compassionate. Together, they showed that true strength came from unity, courage, and heart. The baby dragon, once fragile and weak, began to thrive. Its wings grew stronger, and it learned to balance, stretch, and flap under Leah's patient guidance. The Emperor watched closely, proud of both the human and the dragon. He realized that courage, care, and trust could create miracles, even in the smallest creatures. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting warm light over the city, Leah and the Emperor stood together in the central square. The baby dragon perched between them, its small body strong and confident. Citizens gathered, marveling at the sight of the Emperor and the human working side by side. They whispered in awe, inspired by what they saw: a bond that crossed species, a partnership built on courage and care, and a vision of a brighter future. "You have done more than protect one life," the Emperor said softly to Leah. "You have changed the empire itself." Leah smiled, a quiet, humble smile. "I only did what felt right," she said. "But I am glad it helped." The Emperor lowered his massive head, eyes meeting hers. "Your courage has taught me something I thought I had lost. That true leadership is not just strength or fear, it is care, compassion, and courage. You have reminded me what it means to be a protector, not just a ruler." In that moment, the city seemed to hold its breath. The citizens understood that a new era was beginning, one where dragons and humans could work together, not as rulers and subjects, but as equals. And at the heart of it all was a human who had shown bravery, kindness, and wisdom beyond her years. As night fell, the baby dragon curled comfortably in its nest, watching the stars. Leah hummed softly, the Emperor hovering quietly above, his presence a silent reassurance. Together they had faced danger, inspired change, and begun to build a future where courage and compassion ruled alongside power. And in the quiet of the night, the Emperor realized something profound. The world could be a better place, not because of strength alone, but because of humans like Leah. Brave, kind, and clever, she had shown him that even the smallest acts of care could create lasting change. For the first time, he felt hope, not just for the baby dragon or the city, but for the future of the empire itself. And he knew that with Leah by his side, anything was possible. The city awoke under a calm sky, the first rays of sunlight casting golden light across the rooftops and streets. Dragons soared gracefully above, their scales glittering in the morning glow. Humans moved with energy and purpose, carrying on with their lives. But today, there was a sense of quiet anticipation in the air. Everyone could feel it. A change was coming, subtle yet powerful. In the center of the city square, Leah walked slowly, carrying the baby dragon in her arms. It had grown stronger over the weeks, its wings beginning to flutter more confidently, its bright eyes full of curiosity and trust. Leah hummed softly, a gentle melody that seemed to calm the world around her. Her courage, kindness, and careful attention had transformed the little dragon, just as her bravery had begun to transform the city itself. Above, the Dragon Emperor hovered, massive and majestic, his golden eyes scanning the streets below. He had been present throughout the changes, guiding and observing, yet always giving humans and dragons alike the chance to act and grow on their own. Leah had taught him patience, humility, and the true meaning of courage. She had shown him that strength was not measured in size or power alone, but in heart, determination, and care. Today, he would witness the culmination of their efforts. Word had spread throughout the city of the human who had cared for a weak, disabled dragon and faced dangers that would have daunted even the bravest dragons. Citizens gathered in the square, watching with anticipation, eager to see what would unfold. Some whispered to each other in awe, while others waited silently, feeling the importance of the moment. Leah carried the baby dragon to the center of the square and knelt down, placing it gently on the soft mats that had been arranged for it. The little dragon lifted its head, flapping its small wings experimentally, testing their strength. Leah smiled softly, her hands moving to encourage it. "You can do it," she whispered. "I know you can." The Emperor descended slowly, landing with grace a short distance away. His wings spread wide, stirring a gentle wind that rustled the banners and lanterns. The crowd held its breath, both awed and respectful of the mighty dragon. Yet the Emperor did not roar or threaten. He remained calm, allowing the baby dragon and Leah to take the center of attention. Leah met his gaze, her eyes steady and courageous. "We've done everything we can," she said softly. "Now it's time for him to try." The baby dragon lifted its tiny body, testing its wings again. This time there was a small, successful flutter, a lift that had not been possible before. Leah's smile widened, and she clapped gently. "Yes, that's it. You're stronger than you know." The Emperor watched, golden eyes glimmering with pride and admiration. He realized that this moment symbolized much more than a dragon learning to fly. It was a symbol of courage, perseverance, and the strength that came from care and guidance. The little dragon's success reflected Leah's bravery and patience, qualities that had changed not just one creature, but the hearts of many. Encouraged by her gentle words, the baby dragon took a small leap and flapped its wings. It wobbled slightly but managed to lift off the ground for a brief moment. The crowd erupted in quiet applause, careful not to disturb the fragile creature. Leah's heart swelled with pride. She had nurtured the dragon from a helpless state to the brink of flight, proving that even the smallest and weakest could grow strong with care, patience, and courage. The Emperor's gaze softened as he observed the human's actions. He had long ruled through strength and authority, yet he had never felt such admiration or respect as he did now for a human. Leah had shown him the power of empathy, intelligence, and bravery. She had reminded him that leadership was not only about commanding others, but about guiding, protecting, and inspiring. He spoke softly, his voice deep and resonant, carrying over the square. "You have done more than care for one creature," he said. "You have shown the Empire what true courage and wisdom mean. Humans are stronger than I ever imagined. Through your actions, you have changed not only this little dragon's life, but the hearts of everyone who has witnessed your deeds." Leah looked up at him, feeling a mixture of pride, humility, and awe. "I only did what I thought was right," she said. "I wanted to help him, and I wanted him to have a chance. That's all." The Emperor lowered his head slightly, wings shifting with a gentle sweep. "And that is enough," he said. "Your courage, your care, and your intelligence have taught me more than centuries of rule. I will honor this lesson, and I will ensure it spreads throughout the Empire. From this day forward, care, compassion, and courage will guide how humans and dragons live together." The crowd listened in awe, realizing that a new era had begun. The Emperor's words carried not only authority, but sincerity. And everyone could feel that change was possible. Humans and dragons alike could thrive together, guided not only by strength and power, but by empathy, wisdom, and bravery. Leah knelt beside the baby dragon once more. It lifted its head, flapping its wings with growing confidence. "You're ready," she said softly. "I believe in you." Taking a deep breath, the baby dragon launched into the air. It wobbled at first, its wings trembling, but it found its rhythm and soared above the square. The crowd gasped in delight and amazement. The baby dragon circled once, twice, and then landed gracefully near Leah, who held out her hands to steady it. The Emperor's golden eyes glimmered with pride and wonder. He realized that this moment marked not just the dragon's first flight, but the beginning of a transformed empire, a place where courage, care, and empathy mattered as much as strength. Over the following days, Leah worked alongside the Emperor to implement changes across the city. Humans and dragons began to collaborate more openly, helping one another, protecting the weak, and valuing bravery and kindness in all forms. The baby dragon continued to grow, its confidence increasing daily under her careful guidance. Together, Leah and the Emperor became symbols of hope, courage, and unity. Their partnership showed that even the smallest acts of care could inspire greatness. The baby dragon, once weak and fragile, became a living example of what patience, guidance, and belief could achieve. As the sun set over the city, casting warm light over rooftops and streets, Leah stood with the Emperor and the baby dragon at the center of the square. Citizens gathered to watch, their faces filled with awe and admiration. The city had changed, hearts had changed, and the future looked brighter than it had in centuries. "You have done more than protect one life," the Emperor said softly to Leah, his voice carrying a sense of gratitude and respect. "You have changed the empire itself." Leah smiled gently, brushing the baby dragon's scales. "I only did what I could," she said. "But I am glad it helped. If it inspires even one person to be brave, kind, or caring, then it is enough." The Emperor lowered his massive head, eyes meeting hers. "Your courage has reminded me what it means to be a protector, not just a ruler. Your heart has taught me that strength is not only in power, but in care, empathy, and wisdom. You have changed me, as well as this empire." The baby dragon chirped happily, flapping its wings in excitement. Leah laughed softly, lifting it gently into the air. The Emperor watched, a quiet smile on his face, feeling a warmth he had not known for centuries. As night fell, lanterns glowed across the city, casting golden light over rooftops and streets. The baby dragon rested peacefully in its nest, Leah by its side. The Emperor hovered quietly above, a guardian and friend, reflecting on the lessons he had learned. For the first time, he felt hope, not just for a single creature or a single human, but for the entire empire. Humans and dragons could work together, guided by courage, care, and trust. And at the heart of it all was a human who had shown bravery, wisdom, and love beyond measure. The bond between Leah, the Emperor, and the baby dragon had become more than friendship. It had become a symbol of unity, courage, and hope. And the Emperor knew that with humans like Leah leading with heart, the future of the Empire would be brighter than any golden sunrise. He spread his wings and glided silently above the city, watching over the streets, dragons, and humans alike. He had learned that leadership was not only about commanding power, but about inspiring courage, guiding with care, and protecting those who needed it most. And in the quiet of the night, beneath the soft glow of lanterns and stars, the Emperor realized that this was only the beginning. The lessons of bravery, compassion, and courage would continue to grow, shaping the lives of humans, dragons, and all creatures in the Empire for generations to come. For the first time in centuries, he smiled, not as a ruler, but as a guardian, a friend, and a student of human courage. The city slept peacefully, the baby dragon dreaming of soaring higher, and Leah rested, knowing that she had made a difference. And the Dragon Emperor, watching from above, felt certain of one truth: the courage of one human could indeed change the world.